Hey guys, welcome to Craft Tea. Today we have an amazing episode for you with Nicole Marett. This is actually a lost episode, and it happens to just be me and Nicole. So, one, I hope you don't miss Jason, and two, I really hope you love it.
Well, as you can see, we're still having tea.
Craft tea with just Sara Lively. Ooh, that almost rhymed. Craft tea with just Sara Lively. It doesn't sound too bad. No. Guys, Jason's sick today. He does not feel good. He doesn't look great either. He looked, and I just like sick good. Yeah. And I'm like, this poor guy. I woke up and the alarm was going off, and I actually slept through my first two alarms, which is great that I set 4. And I saw what time it was, and I looked over and I see him like half breathing in his sleep and looking like he'd just fallen asleep. I'm like, okay, you can stay home. I'm gonna go get the baby.
Man.
Lucky. Although Alex followed me in there when I went to go tell him that we were leaving instead of just leaving him. I wanted to make sure his phone was on too. And poor Alex is like, come on, Dad. Well, not in those words, but Dad, Daddy. And I'm like, no, Daddy doesn't feel good. We're gonna go. And she's like, starting to cry. She's like, glasses. And I just keep thinking of the damn fucking line from My Girl when the boy dies and he's in the coffin and here comes a little girl. He can't see without his glasses. And I'm like, we gotta go.
You can't see either way. Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Poor thing.
So that was my morning.
Aww.
Then I come into work and everything's fine and dandy except I see something weird on Chris's face, and then Patty's like, oh. And I'm like, what? Oh, you might want to look in the office chat at the link. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know if I should be freaked out or not. Someone copied my whole, when I say copied my whole entire website, I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts.
It's like all your inventory,
my face is on. Yes. Nicole's here.
Oh, she's here.
We can't hear you yet.
Yeah.
Oh, she could read my lips. Hey!
Hi.
Good morning.
Kind of looks like I have a green screen. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks. Let me put this on silent here. I'm going to give you my phone.
All right. I'm going to need to run back to the house and get ready for the shoot.
Okay.
Can you need to come up here before I leave?
Sure.
All right. So okay.
Sorry, Sarah.
Oh,
it took a while for us to get all of this set up because it's like, I wanted to sit right here because the light is better in here,
right?
And there it makes it look like I have what is his name? Family Guy, like my little.
Oh my God, Nicole.
Yes, because of the shadows is so harsh coming down.
But I get it too. There's certain rooms I just don't like to be photographed or recorded in. Period. It's the lighting's just no good.
Yeah. I love your masks behind you.
Oh, thank you. I used to get them for Jason for his birthday and Christmas he didn't put them up for a long time and now he does. So I don't know if we're going to get them again, but they're pretty cool for now, I suppose.
My son is obsessed with Michael Myers and he rehauls masks and it's very strange. He's 10. And so when people come in his room and they see those styrofoam heads,
right.
And he has masks and stuff and hanging and the garage has hanging heads. And so he's just,
I love it.
He's very into Michael Myers.
I love it. That's okay. Alex was just obsessed with everything skeleton. So we're right on the right track there. Who knows what she'll be into.
She's a cutie patootie.
Thank you. She's been a handful.
She's so tiny. I don't know why I thought you had a bunch of kids.
Not yet. Well, probably not never. I'll probably wind up with 2, but 1 for now.
1 for now? Yeah, we stuck on 1 for a long time because he scared us really bad. We weren't built for it, and so we were kind of questioning what did we do? This child hates us. We're how do people manage so many kids? So, and then we finally had another one and she's worse. So, yeah.
Well, you know what? One day they'll grow up and take care of you, and that's all that matters.
Yes, definitely, definitely. They're going to take care of us because I tell them all the time. I said, look, you got to take care of me. Okay. Like we have a deal, right? You have to take care of me. Your dad, I don't know, but I mean, me for sure. We got to stick together. That's what I always tell them.
Right. And it's going to be probably less years than you have taken care of them anyway. So like, you know, be nice to
Yeah.
us.
I told them, I was just like, as long as you give me a little house in the back, because I got to have my own stuff, and I want to be able to live on my own and I want to have my own craft area. And he's just like, sure, mom, sure, mom, sure, mom.
But
Sure.
I want to be like super close to you on your property. Don't forget about me.
Yes. He tells me, he's like, that's fine. He's like, you either live with me or I live with you forever. And I'm like, no.
Separate houses, same property. You pay.
Yes. Absolutely. You pay now.
Yeah.
No, you're going to pay. Yeah.
Well, thanks for carving out some time with us today. I've been trying to get guests every week, but I suck at it. I always call people literally the night before, sometimes even the day of, like, hey, you want to be on my podcast? But I'm trying to get better. And I thought what was neat is that, because of course, I've done a little bit of my own homework because we're working with a lot of the same people right now. So of course, Shakira talks about you all the time. And that's when I started learning about you. And I'm like, we seem very similar. Everyone I've had on Craft Tea, like I know, or I've talked to at least before. You, I have not. And I think that we're going to have a really good episode, I hope. But if I'm awkward,
that's awesome.
just know that it's always like this.
No. I appreciate you reaching out. I love just really working with other people and collaborating, whether it's in the studio or whether it's on a podcast or whether it's putting on like a project or a box or something. I always love bringing the different styles together. And even if like we've never spoke before, I knew of y'all, like the duck, the duck with the boobs was always like the duck with the boobs, And so that was like the mascot. I was like, they're the ones for Glitter Guy. Okay. They have the ducks. And then I don't know why I thought you were in airbrushing for some reason also. I was like, maybe they also do airbrushing. And then I just went into my hole and I just got really focused on doing a lot of content and stuff for like 2 years. And so I didn't come back out until, recently. Shakira kind of pulled me out and was like, no, we got to do this now. So
that makes sense. Cause I was like, well, one, I haven't been talking to people for 2 years either, but now it's like, I see you everywhere. And I'm like, have I always seen this girl everywhere? Or am I seeing you everywhere now? I'm like, oh, new. And I'm like, no, I feel like I've seen NMO somewhere before. I've definitely seen those initials. She's not new. I'm like, but where'd you come from? Have I been blind? This makes a lot of sense.
I've been hiding. Yeah, I've been in my little corner for a while.
I feel like a lot of us did. Like I definitely did. A few other people that I've been talking to have been hiding for the past few years. COVID was weird to all of us.
Yeah.
But please tell us the story of Nicole Marett, NMO, how you got into crafting, how you turned crafting into selling craft supplies. Let us know everything.
Well, let's see. Well, it started off with just me buying a cup from somebody off of Etsy, and I wanted a Yeti cup, but I didn't want just a basic Yeti cup. I wanted a very extra cup. Everything I do has to be extra. And so I got an overpriced, really expensive Yeti cup with the leopard glitter on the outside. And so when I got it, I had never seen anything like it before. It was obviously handmade. It was crafted. It was created. And I've always been a crafty person. My godmother and I used to spend every weekend crafting, and she had a whole craft room. And back then it wasn't as big as it is now,
No.
There was no Pinterest or anything like that. So it's like, it was all just, you go to Garden Ridge Pottery, you get your stuff and you make wreaths and you get your glue gun. And so we would do all of that stuff. And so I've always had that crafting, hobby in me. And so when I saw this tumbler, I was like, a lot of people would come up to me and say, did you make that? Did you make that? Tell me how you can I order one from you? Like, no, but I wish I knew how, I wish I knew how. And I didn't even know what it was called. I would go to like a party or something and people would say, they would like pass it around and look at it and be like, they would poke at it. They're like, what is this?
Scratch it off.
Yeah. And so I was like, it's like a cast or something, like a sleeve or a sticker that they, for some reason in my head, I thought they put it around and then they heat gun shrunk it.
Yes. I thought
to
something
there.
similar when I saw these cups, and I'm like, how'd you get that? It's encased in something. Do you put it inside?
Yes. And so she had the silver exposed at the bottom and at the top. And so it was
this is a
just
good
kind of
one.
like a circle. Yeah. She did one of those. I tried to do one of those last night. I failed. I either pulled the tape off too early or too late or whatever. But yeah, no, she did that. And so it took me a good, I want to say solid year of me just trying to figure out. Then finally I saw someone who said, "Oh, that's just resin." What? Resin? Yeah, the stuff they put on the bar tops to like that one bar we go to that has the baseball cards and they're like trapped. Oh, and then the light bulb went off.
Sense. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So then I go to YouTube, and the first YouTube that I find was Minderella, Mindy Joe.
Yes.
And so there was nothing out there.
No.
Nothing. When I would go and ask people, how can I do this? Or you work with resin, how can I do this? They would kind of look at me like I was crazy. I'd be like, I want to put glitter and do the thingy, and they would look at me kind of crazy. But I got obsessed with it, and I got very laser focused. I was a new mom second time around with a brand newborn baby. And I had a lot of time when I was nursing or sleeping between naps and bored at home and watching Maury Povich. And I would just watch those videos over and over and over until I finally, got the balls to go out there and just purchase my own stuff. And then it all just kind of just snowballed from there. Right. So yeah. Had I not found tumblers, I probably would have been like a school teacher or something, because I was fresh off from oh, sorry. Getting messages coming through here. I was fresh off of school, and I just wrapped up my degree, and I was not really sure what I was going to do, but I knew that I wanted to kind of see where the Etsy sales and stuff like that went. It was good for me being a stay-at-home mom. Mm-hmm. And then with my husband being, in the video production, right? He was, let's do a video. I don't know. He's like, oh, come on. He's like, I think you should do. He's like, you look for videos. You should do a video, just a basic one. So I did a washi tape one, and it was cute. It was cute. It was fun. And so I think that's where it kind of just started to snowball from there.
Right. Do you remember who you bought your cup from? Was it like someone you wound up like networking with after or anything?
It's funny you say it, because I went after and I tried to look her up, and she had closed her site down. And I have no idea who she is, but I still have that cup because it's like I love that. That was my second question. Yeah, I know. I still have that cup, and it's still like, it is. I don't know what she used, because back then the resin wasn't what it is today. It was not really designed for the crafters, I would say. Right. But it is in perfect condition still.
That's awesome, because all mine are pretty much yellow at this point.
Oh God, I hate that.
Illuminate yellow.
Yeah, that was the first one that I started with. And you know what? It's funny, because like the first time I ever epoxied, like now we put our finger and we kind of guide it. Like the first crop of people who would do cups would just pour the whole damn thing on there. Oh, yeah. And I just poured it on there, and I just let it drip everywhere. And I was just like slapping it on like Mod Podge and decoupage. And I was just getting all in there. It was sliding all over my table. It was a disaster. Yeah.
My first.
And those turners that would make noise. You remember that?
Yes. Yeah. The cup that I mixed epoxy in for the very first time is still technically epoxied to the top of my first turner. Like the top of the cup I've cut off, but the bottom, you can still see it with the tiny bit of resin in it. Cause I put it on, did the slather, right? And then I put the cup down because I needed to finish the slather, and then the cup never came back up. So now it's just a memory there forever on the turner that I refuse to get rid of, because I like to hoard everything I've ever bought in my whole life.
Oh, see, that's my son. He doesn't throw anything away. But yeah, no, I have my very first turner, and then first cup, that turner had to go. It was so bad. And then the first tumbler that I ever made.
You still have it?
Still. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I gave mine away and I wish I still have it, but I did give it away to someone that still has it. So that kind of makes me feel good. But I don't talk to them that much anymore. But I know that they got it.
Yeah. I would go to Hobby Lobby every day to try to see if they had like brand new fresh glitter put out. And man, those reflections, they were
Right. I remember
they were the tried and true. Those were my OGs.
And what was it, like 8, 9 colors? There was no true white. There was no true black. If you bought like when they had their mega sales, I don't know if it was the same for everyone else, but they'd have like 40% off, 50% off. I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm going to get 3 of this, 4 of that. Let's just get 8 of the pink. And I'd come in and I'd like, I didn't order 2 pinks, but there's 2 different pinks in here. It's the same pink, but 2 different shades because they don't care. Michaels don't care.
Michael's just here. It was the same thing with Walmart. Those little cubes that you would stack.
And that's the ones that I would get from Michaels. So same. Wow. I remember doing all of that. And I still have most of that glitter too. And that's all we ever had. And then I wanted more glitter. And I was like, I tried bulkglitter.com, couldn't figure them out, ordered the wrong stuff. It's like plastic. Because at the time I'm like, I don't know what polyester glitter is or craft glitter or whatever these people are talking about. I just want the glitter that I put on the cups. And then I found Yaya's and she had this rose gold. And I'm like, this is the prettiest thing I've ever purchased in my whole life. I need every color that she's got.
It was Yaya's. And then I got Yaya's and, oh God, who was the first one that I bought? It was Yaya's. And then there was a few of them that I don't even think they're in business anymore, but they would do those buy-ins.
Yes.
Man, I would cash in on those.
I forgot about them.
Stock up on those. Yeah.
And then you'd wait for it, right? Because she didn't technically order it.
Yeah. And then I would get like a shit ton like all at once. And I was like, yes, I got glitter. And my husband would walk in. I would hide it from him. And then one day he went out into the garage and he's like, where did all this come from?
China.
I was like, he's like, is this why we can't take vacations? Because you have glitter? I was like, just hear me out. Hear me out.
Just have faith.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. So when did you start selling glitter? How did that even start?
Well, I did a lot of reviews. I liked the glitter so much. And I liked talking about the glitter and I liked collecting the glitter, and every single time, somebody would put out a new mix of glitter. It started out with a lot of solids. And then with time, I kind of noticed, okay, well, I have a lot of solids. And then I started to notice they were starting to repeat themselves. They were all kind of starting to look the same. And some of them were the exact same mix or the exact same color. So I was like, what if I mix this with this? This is the cup that I want to look. This is the look that I want to achieve. This is what I want to do. And so people kept asking, can you sell that? Can you sell it to me? And I'm like, well, I don't have it in bulk. I just have just a little bit of it. And so people kept asking, you have to do that. You have to bring your mixes, your style, because I was very true to the style that I wanted to bring. I didn't want to just bring every color in the rainbow. I didn't want to just bring solids or fines or just solid colors, period. I always for 2 years, I stuck to, I'm not going to put solids out there because that's not really unique. Everybody can bring a solid. What is it that I want to bring? And it was the mixes and it was the chunkies and the rose golds were really big with me. And then this signature rose gold cup is what really kicked it off when I wanted to create the chunky top of it to be like a rose gold cream and all different kinds of pinks. And then it to fade out into that creamy white. That was hard to find. So it was Champagne Palace, I think, from Mr. Nola. And then it was, it was like something lace from Glitter Junkies. And it was the perfect white cream. And then they discontinued it. So I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? So I was like, I'm going to make my own. And so I started doing that. And it wasn't until I didn't even start with glitter. I started with the metallic powder because of the Milky Way. So I wanted to create veins for the Milky Way. with a solid, like the jacquard was out there and it was great, but I wanted a rose gold. So I searched high and low, and then I finally found the rose gold powder that I wanted to bring to the cup. And so when I reached out, I started out with like a small kilo, I was like, all right, guys, I just wanted to test the market to see if anybody was going to be interested, I didn't know. And I sold out within 16 minutes, I think. It was just like gone. And Scott's like, oh my God, like, what is this again? What are you doing? I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's continue to make videos. If they ask for it some more, we can go ahead and we can resupply it. But I don't know, we need to move too fast. Yes. Mr. Cupping again, or we,
Mr. We can't take vacations because you got all this glitter is now trying to buy powder. All right.
Definitely. Yeah, no, he was definitely on board once all of that started to like show, like the data started to come through.
Right.
And he kind of realized, okay, so there is a craft market out there. There's a Tumblr market out there. There's a creators market out there. And so it started to take shape after that. And so I kind of, I had like the friends who would sell the glitter and stuff, and I would pitch my glitter and they'd be like, that's great, but it's very expensive, like you have to, take into account that these cuts that you're using are beautiful. Yes, but they are expensive to create. So I'm going to have to pass. Okay, that's fine. But I'm going to do it if you're not going to do it,
right.
And so
someone will pay for it.
Yeah. And so they did. And it just kind of took off from there.
I think that's awesome. Is your
Thanks.
husband more of a person in NMO now? Like, is he more does he help you bag glitter? What does he do? Does he cut vinyl? Or do you just make your awesome videos?
He better. Yeah, no, I feel bad because he kind of jumps from everything to everything while he's still maintaining his business. He definitely took a step back because of the pandemic. People were just quarantined and they really didn't need a bunch of people on site doing video. So that's when he kind of pivoted to, the company, my company, which was perfect timing. It could not have been the most perfect because we started.
Everyone was home and they had nothing to do.
Yeah. And so he was like, I have time, I got time. Let's go hard. And so we did it and it just lined up perfectly.
I love that. Everything happens for a reason though, also.
Mm-hmm.
I try to get Jason more involved. He's getting more involved in the videos now. Like, he's more willing to be in them. But when we first started, he wouldn't even walk behind me if I was live. And he would get upset with me if I didn't like give him a warning. Like, hey, I'm live in here. Be careful. And he'd be like, are you kidding me? Yeah. I'm like, you are a part of this, sir. Like, you just want me to do everything then? And you just bag glitter? Is that how this is going to be? All right.
Yeah. No, I tell Scott, I said, fine. You know what? You don't want to, because I would try to get him on the lives because I did a lot of lives at the beginning. And I was silly on the lives. I was drinking on the lives. I was just, back then it was the pandemic. People were
wild.
We were wild. We were bored. We were just hanging out. And it was like the new norm of people hanging out. So I would try to I've had these crazy ideas. Like, let's do a Q&A. Let's do a panel. You mix the glitter. Let me teach you how to do a cup. And he's just like, I'm not built for the front of the camera. I don't like being in front of the camera. I like to be on the back side of the camera. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of how it just started happening, where he would just control the back end. I was like, you do fine on camera. We recorded one podcast and he immediately scrapped it. I was like, what the hell? And he's like, I didn't like the way it sounded. I was like, you sounded perfectly. Like, people were asking what camera do I get? Like, how do I set up the switcher to switch from the top down to the actual full frontal, and how do I do the lighting and where do I, all these technical questions, like, to create the perfect setup. And he was the person on the podcast and he was explaining, and then we wrapped it up. And then as soon as we wrapped it, he's like, push the button, and he deleted it. I was like, really?
That would have got mad views, especially a while ago. Like, everyone was looking for that information and no one was willing to give it. The people that were willing to give it were too busy and had, no great skills of explaining things. Because believe me, I was looking back then and I could not figure out nothing.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, he's built me some pretty sweet setups. And he's full of ideas, and he works with the guys that do the lighting and the sound. So he would go to them and he would ask them, what is the best for this? And what is the best for that? And how do we do this? And so then he would come back and he would rig it all up for me. And I would sit there and I would just kind of be like, okay, well, here we go. And so that's kind of how it all it was a perfect matchup.
Storm. I love it. Well, you guys made great videos. I'm obsessed with the one you guys did. I think you did it at the Nolas, when you guys were all in black, and the Coven one.
Oh, yes.
It turned out so good. It's perfect. Everyone's resting bitch face is literally perfect. Also, like the angles, everyone. Gemma was looking great. Like, I loved everything about that video.
It was really fun. That city is my magic city. I love New Orleans. If I can go anywhere in the country, I always ask to go to New Orleans. And it's like people always like, really? I was like, well, I have done like the astrograph or the astro mapping or whatever it's called. And it turns out that New Orleans is like where I have my best energy. And it's crazy.
I'm gonna have to look on this map.
It's not crazy, but it's like based on my time and my zodiac when I was born and blah, 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 the day that, it like perfectly aligns. And like the space between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, that's like my, like that astro, like that's the best energy for me. That and all the way north. So it's like Canada. And I'm like, I ain't going to Canada.
You just Google this? Can I Google my astro map? How do I not know about this? How do I not know where my best location is? So I'm really curious now. All right, what's my birthday? September 16th.
You're the 16th? I'm the 19th.
Nuh-uh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Virgos.
We're Virgos, yes. Like, we're the best.
What year?
82.
Oh, I'm 89.
89. Ah, okay. No, yeah. Turned 41 this year. I'm not really.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
You don't look it, not even close.
Why, thank you. I told him, I was like, I am like, yeah, I haven't had any work on my face. I haven't had any work on my face, but I'm thinking about having work on my neck because like I got the grandma neck. I'm like,
you're ridiculous. You cannot tell. You do not look like you have grandma neck. My mom walks around and pinches it when we're in pictures. She's like, pinch the back of my neck. I'm like, I will not pinch your neck, Mom. She wants me to put my arm around her and pretend like I'm putting my arm around her, but really just pinch her neck. I'm like, why? So I can be standing like this, Mom? Like, it doesn't look right. But
that's so funny. Because this morning I was like, should I wear a turtleneck today, Scott? And he's like, oh my God, it's 100 degrees outside. I know, but my grandma neck. And finally he saw it yesterday in the camera. I was like, look, face, neck, they don't match. He's like, oh man.
I have a feeling I'm going to regret putting my email address in here, but.
Yeah, you put your birthplace, your birth date, and the time you were born, and it'll pop up a little map that looks like this right here.
Yes, I want my map. First
Isn't that
name,
crazy?
Sara. Last name optional. Cool. Oh,
but yeah, no, I love New Orleans. People are like, oh, aren't you like scared to like, it's kind of crazy out there. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I'll wander whenever, wherever. Right. And it's funny because like we like to stay at the Hotel Monteleone or the St. Marie, like right on the French Quarter. And so it's funny because one time, I forgot when it was, one time we got there and we opened the windows because I heard the music. I was like, open the windows, I hear the music, and it sounded like a parade, like a percussion was going on. And I heard jazz and saxophones and all these things playing. And Scott's like, what are you doing? Close the window. It stinks. And I was like, no,
it stinks.
It stinks. It's because it's like a cigarette and like bar and it was right on French Quarter, so like it's below sea level, so it's kind of swampy and yeah, it's kind of gross if you think about it. But I had opened up the doors and he was like, why are you opening up the doors and the windows? And I said, don't you hear the music? And he's like, what music? I said, listen, you're not listening, listen. And he's like, it's so loud, how can you not hear it? Sure enough, there was no freaking music. He couldn't hear any music. And I heard the music so loud. And so I was like,
He was just focused on that smell. He was like, I can't even.
Probably. I never smell anything. I never see anything. I'm oblivious when I get there. I'm just like, yay. And I head off.
So my map is here. Oh, wait. Can it give me like a list, or am I only looking at this map?
The Venus line, which is the purple line, that is your best life right there.
Nice. Where am I at?
Yeah, where's your purple?
Mexico.
Ooh.
New Mexico. It's hot there though.
New Mexico.
Salt
You'd be
Lake
surprised though. I just got back from New Mexico. Spring break? No, for my wedding anniversary. And it's not
Ooh.
hot.
No?
It's not hot.
I picture everything over there being so hot. And wait, Shakira's in New Mexico, right?
She's on the tip, on the very, very, very tip of New Mexico, where New Mexico and Texas, El Paso meet.
Right.
So she's right there. So she lives in New Mexico, but she does everything in El Paso.
I think just her always saying desert, desert, desert. I just think it's hot.
Yeah, no, it's a dry kind of hot.
I can't do that because we have so much humidity here that you'd be surprised that you get so used to it. When you get in dry heat, like I can't even breathe.
Really?
What state are you in, actually? I don't know.
I'm in Houston, Texas.
Oh, so you have only dry heat, right?
No, we have 100% humidity. We're in the bio.
So all the time, or this is new?
What?
The bayou, so the humidity. So you have it all the time because of where you are.
Yeah, it is humidity 100% every day.
So you're just like us, but hotter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. When I went to Jersey, it's the same kind of like precipitation.
So I could, breathe there, but it'd be too hot for me, which is ironic because I'm always complaining about how cold it is. I just think maybe I'm a chronic complainer, but if it was spring all the time, I don't really think I'd be having these issues.
No, like they don't have mosquitoes. We have mosquitoes here.
Ugh.
Mosquitoes are
horrible.
You can't go outside. You cannot go outside unless you douse yourself with chemical. And so when I went to San Diego and I was talking with Kelly and I was talking to, Steve and all them, they were like, oh, we're going to go on a hike. And when I went to New Mexico, I went to Santa Fe. Everybody was hiking. And then the last time I went to San Francisco, they were like, oh, you're going to go on a hike. And I'm like, what is this hike business for fun? Like, why do people go on these hikes? And then I realized
I'm dead.
Oh, they like being outside because they can be outside.
Right.
You can't be outside here. You will, if you're outside for like an hour, you will die of heat exhaustion. Facts. You need AC.
And that's like a lot for you guys, right? That's only like 2 or 3 months for us, but that's like the bulk of your year.
Okay. So I want to say perfect weather here lasts for about 3 weeks. Like good weather, like the sun is out, you can stand outside, the breeze, like just loving life. That's why the cost of living here is so cheap and the houses are so big and you can get them for dirt cheap, is because nobody wants to live in Houston. I mean, you can come here for oil and medical and stuff like that. If, you want to be a billionaire, but then you don't have time to be outside.
Wait, can I just come to Texas and be a billionaire? Is that like a thing?
It's very.
If I like oil, I just get billions.
I mean, yeah. Like if you wanted to go, and there's tons of people. You heard big rich Texas. Lots of people in the oil and the medical and petroleum, gas. Yeah.
And I just wanted to get into glitter. I should have just gotten into petroleum, but I didn't really know how to get my foot in that door. I probably couldn't have afforded the startup. Like.
I mean, the factory alone going to put you back, but.
Right. I don't think that I would have gotten approved for quite the kind of loan I would need for that. But ironic that, you say no one wants to live in Texas, but that is by far the most impactful. Like me personally, I don't know about anyone else, but I feel like it's probably similar. That's my biggest ship to state. That's my most customers is Texas.
We are a
There's
very
so many people.
Big. Yeah. We're a giant, like somebody asked me, they're like, so Shakira lives close to you because she's in Texas. Oh no, Shakira's 9 hours away from me. If I were to drive from here to Shakira, it'd probably take me from 9 to 11 hours because Texas is so vast. And
Right.
there's Austin, there's Dallas, there's Houston, there's San Antonio, there's, all the colleges, it's just so big. And then you have like the surrounding areas, like you have New Orleans, Louisiana, you have, just so much. And it's all right here. If I could get out of Houston, I would get out of Houston. I would go to San Antonio. I like San Antonio.
That's further north, right?
Southwest. Dallas is north. Like, so Houston is like in the Gulf area, like
right
where the big shoe is.
That's
so
the only part I
in
am
that
familiar
cross.
with.
Yes. And then you have Austin, which is in the middle. And then you have San
Right.
Antonio, which is down southwest Texas. And then you have, where is it? Then you have Dallas, which is up by sort of closer to the Panhandle.
Right.
That is dry. That's a good, hot, dry, But yeah, people say all the time, if we had good weather, we couldn't afford to live here because, yeah.
That's kind of how, we don't have good weather here all the time, but I'm telling you right now, I'm sick and tired of the cost of living in New Jersey. And that's like a topic of discussion all the time with me and Jason. It's like, well, where can we move? Because Alex isn't in school yet. My parents live in Texas, ironically. That's why I know where Houston is. My parents are in Katy, and that's right south of Houston.
What? Your parents are in Katy?
My parents are in Katy right this second.
How the hell did you not
dad's in
hear
oil.
of me? Like, come on. Like, you're like my neighbor. Like, Katie's literally like 10 minutes from me.
That's so ironic. Yeah, I fly down there all the time to see them because, ironically, my dad works for an oil company, Schlumberger.
Schlumberger.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They used to have a place here in Princeton, but they closed down his department and they moved everyone to Texas. And they were like, you want to move to Texas? And my dad was like, the hell I don't. My daughter's getting married. That was me. My brother had just had a baby. He's like, I'm not leaving. And then hard to find a job when you're of a certain age and all you do your whole life is manual labor up until Schlumberger, and then you're just making oil detectors. So when he never found another job, he the check started running out from all the money Schlumberger did give. He was like, I'll go to Texas now if you're still offering. So they all picked up and went to Texas. My brother went with them. They're all down there. Well, my brother came back, but my parents are still there.
So does he work at the Katy, so they built like more plants here between Katy and Cypress, and then they did some in the Woodlands, and then they did some in they have some like in Baytown area.
What I remember from what he's saying is Sugar Land is very familiar, and he's also a volunteer firefighter for Cypress. So probably somewhere around that.
So we're like neighbors.
I was going to say, it's like a really small world. Sometimes I even wear my Cypress firefighter shirt that my dad got me.
Oh my God. I would have
super
tripped
small
out
world.
if I saw it.
I wish I wore it today now. That's funny. Yeah, they're right there in Katy. My mom, she just got a new job somewhere because my mom quit her job because they thought they were going to move back, but then they never moved back. But
yeah, no, we have we
mess.
live smack dab here in Cypress. Warehouse, Cypress. We live in Cypress. Yeah.
Super small world. Well, my dad is making sure that you're all safe from fires. So that's pretty cool.
That's great. You know what? We're always looking for a firehouse to go and take gifts to or canned goods or, stuff like that. So yeah, I'll have to go, so it's the Cypress, which one, which precinct or which ladder should I say?
Ooh, I don't know. I wonder if it's listed on there. Yeah. If you ever go in though, you just name drop and be like, I know Walter Wildermuth.
Walter Wildermuth?
Wildermuth.
Walter.
That's a doozy, isn't it? I was so excited to find Jason, and I'm like, wait, what's your last name again? Lively? All right, I could get into that.
Sara Wildermuth.
Yeah, it was a fun growing up with that. Oh, what? How do I not know what Prink's the number he's in? It'll come back to me if it's not on here.
Yeah, no, for sure. Share his because friends of mine are volunteers for. I think there's a couple of them that are out here. But yeah, no, Katy is right down 99. We live right by 99 and it's right there.
It's not Cypress, it's Cy-Fair.
Oh no, Cypress is like Cypress Fairbanks.
Oh,
that's
okay.
the road. Yeah.
Yeah, it just says Cy-Fair fire department, but I don't know what ladder he's on or anything like that. Yeah, there it
That's
is.
crazy. I'm gonna have to tell Scott and be like, Scott, her dad is a volunteer, or he's a volunteer, right?
Volunteer fire, yeah.
Volunteer firefighter here in Cyprus. He's gonna be like, damn. Okay.
Super small world. Well, now we know that. See, I knew it was gonna be great having you on here. I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of, I don't know, and sometimes I feel like vibes about people too, and I hope that's not incredibly weird. And I'm just like, okay, well, like we're gonna be friends now. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm glad you chatted me because I've never had a conversation with you besides asking like, hey, can I do a podcast at your event? And you're like, yes. And so I was like, oh, I had like a forward moment. And usually I'm very like, I say, things and people are either going to love me or they're going to really hate me. So, it's just like, no one's ever like, yeah, she's all right. No, like they either love me or. And so I'm just kind of like, okay. I was like, Scott, I asked if I can go put a podcast in, GACE, because I had just heard of it. Shakira was like, you got to bring the podcast to GACE. Right. And I said, well, I wasn't invited. And she's like, that's okay. Just ask Sara. She's super cool. Jason's super cool. And I was like, no, bro, like I can't because like, that's weird. Like I've never had a conversation and all of a sudden I'm going to ask them for something. And she's like, oh, come on. But I'm glad we did. We had a lot of fun.
And you were a sponsor for her class, though. So you were actually invited. It's just by the time we were planning Shakira's class, I had checked off my list already. Poor Shakira got kind of thrown together at last minute because she was a last minute teacher. So you were technically actually invited. And I'm glad that you reached out, too, because you saying about the podcast kind of gave me the idea. I'm like, I need to have her on mine. I was like, we're going to talk at GACE. This is going to be great. I also thought I was going to have a hell of a lot more time to just sit around and talk too. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. Like, we'll just, it'll take it from there.
How was that? Like, because like people are like constantly asking like, when are you going to put one on Houston? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't think so. I can't handle that kind of fire. You know what I mean? Like, and it seemed like that's a lot of irons in the fire. Like, what is that?
It was it was definitely frustrating because I put in a lot of work this year, and usually, especially with ADHD, I'm like here one day, I'm doing something different the next day. I got all my shit together this time with a list, and then the list is gone. But I stayed true to most of that stuff that had to get done. The venue was supposed to be awesome. Everything was lined up, and then everything just started falling apart. Like I'm not even there yet, and Jason calls me. He's like, "We have a problem. There's no AC in here," and I was like right now, like just for setup. And he's like, no, like they said it's broken. I'm like, I'm gonna need some AC, Jason. Like I'm not even fucking with you. I'm gonna need them to turn that on. I'm not even there yet. Like, and I gave my staff like super good instructions on what to do while I was still here getting shit together and everything. And I get there and nothing was done. I'm like, so
well, you know what? Like I kept looking at you. I kept looking at you and I was like, you had this, everything's okay. What will be. And you got on your little motorcycle and rode off into, like
wherever,
like it was very graceful the way you handled all of it.
Thank you.
When shit, it happens to me all the time, like, and I think that's why I don't have the balls to put on an event because I'm scared that will happen to me, like, and somebody will die because I will, snap. And,
I thought I was going to snap when Melanie asked for toilet paper and I texted them and asked them for toilet paper. And their response was, we need you to get that car out of there. I was like, you need her fucking $25 so goddamn bad. You won't give me toilet paper. It stinks in there. The least you could do is give us toilet paper. There's nowhere else to go to the bathroom. Do you want my friends to drip dry all over Atlantic City? I'm so confused.
I know. Scott was like, because he was walking around and he was like, are you sure that you got invited? And I was like, yeah, why? He's like, I don't know. We get kind of worried because it's like the first day we got there and we didn't see anybody. I think I don't remember. We had to hop a flight pretty quickly from another city. And it was like it was right after GlitterCon. And so it was a quick turnaround. I think went from like 3 days to the next. And then we jumped on that plane and we got there in the middle of the night and we didn't see anybody. We didn't see any trailers. We didn't see anything. And he's like, I'm starting to get a little worried because I don't see any signs. Or, I asked somebody and they're like, they looked at me like I was crazy. And then the next day when he went to go get coffee, he's like, okay, I see
People
Jessica
are starting
Flynn.
to show up.
Yeah, people were starting to show up. And he's like, I see Jessica. And I was like, okay, thank God. Because somewhere in me, I was like, oh shit. Like,
Am I at the right spot? And
Am I at the right
asked,
spot?
they might have told you
Yeah.
that the event was canceled because that's what they were telling everybody. If you went to the front desk and asked, they were telling people that my event was canceled.
What?
They would go and ask where the parties are, like, because we had a party each night, and they were legitimately telling people that it was canceled. The whole event was. So people were like leaving, and some people, were like, I don't know. I saw Sara earlier. I just don't think it's canceled. They wandered around and found us upstairs, and they were like, this is the GACE party, right? And I'm like, yeah, come on in. And they're like, oh, everyone downstairs said it's canceled. I'm like, I can
Oh my
handle
God.
one more thing today. My head will pop right off this body.
I saw like Jason like running around and I was scared to like go up and say, I don't know about, because he was so just about to bust, he was so pissed off. And so Scott's like, I don't know if we should go up to him. And I was like, okay. So like after the event, like, okay, let's go ahead and let's go say hello. And yeah, y'all look like y'all were like, y'all did really well because I probably would have screamed.
It went as well as it could. And, the things that went wrong, they went wrong and it was whatever. But everyone seemed to really appreciate the work that we did put in. At least that's what they said to my face. And that's what I'm hearing, most of what I'm hearing behind the scenes is, that people weren't upset with me and Jason. And that's what I wanted at the end. Like, I wanted everyone to be happy. I wanted everyone to feel like they got their money's worth. Because that's the worst part is like, dude, I'm taking a lot of these people's money. And a lot of donations from other companies. And I need to make good on this. I need to make sure my sponsors feel validated and that I'm supporting them. I also need to make sure that I breathe, eat, and pee during the day, which is not happening currently. And, that all the attendees are happy. It's a lot.
No, for sure. Like the whole thing, like the whole like conflict from what I hear people being upset about was never Sarah Jason did that. No. It was never like that. It was always this venue, these workers. Can you believe they're holding our toilet paper? Can you believe they want us to move the cars? Can you believe that they won't turn on the AC? Like it was all geared towards what the hell,
The AC
like,
never
why are
existed,
they
by the
doing
way.
this? It never existed?
No, it never existed. They've been, and that was when I came there to see this place in person, like, because this wasn't even supposed to be our spot. We were supposed to have the vendor floor was going to be directly right next to where you check in for the hotel, which you will see now is go-karts. But that wasn't like that when I booked this place. And then we went there in April to make videos, to make content with two of the teachers, and the room's gone, it's boarded up. No one was going to tell us. So we contacted them, got, in touch with someone finally. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to put you in our brand new event center. I'm like, all right, like it's right off the parking garage. It's brand new. It's got to be like probably whitewashed. This place is going to be great. It'll be bare walls and we'll be able to do something with it. So the first two questions I asked this woman to her face was, where is everyone going to park? Because they're going to have large trailers. There's going to be a lot of cars, trailers, people, vendors. I need to know. That's going to be the biggest question I'm first going to get. And she told me, no problem. She basically made it sound like they were going to valet these trailers for free underneath the whole casino. And then I said, is there AC in here? She looked at me dead in my eyes and told me, yes, there's AC in here. There's no AC in that hallway right there. So that whole hallway, one, you can't block it off anyway because there's an exit down there. And two, you don't get AC. You only get the AC in that hallway from where the elevator is. And she's pointing, she's telling me. And I'm like, done, that's fine. Because we were going to put the 1 days out there. We'll just put them in here since it's going to be hot out there. I never saw her face that whole weekend. She's so lucky I never saw her face because that would have been the time that you've seen my head pop right off my body.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, because
proud of
like the
myself
doors
for
were
asking.
closed.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
No. I mean, yeah, because like Banff was like, okay, so why aren't these working? My husband's in AC. And she was like, what are those? And they were like ran off. And so she's like, well, can you at least open the doors, get some breeze rolling through here? And so they did that. I mean, it wasn't crazy hot. I mean, if you were in Houston, you'd be fucking hot. Like you
Right.
would be getting bit by mosquitoes. Yeah, no, you would. No, it was. And the people that were there, I mean, it was pretty, nobody paid attention to that because we had so many people. Yeah.
When people and vendors started leaving on Saturday night that we're supposed to stay for Sunday, that's when I knew. I was like, I just started breaking down at that point. I'm like, I just want to go home. Like and everyone's like the one glitter company that I hadn't introduced myself to yet. I saw her taking stuff off her shelf. And at this point, I'm a broken person. I went up to her. I'm like trying not to cry. I'm sucking it back up. And I'm like, are you leaving? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, my name's Sara. And I'm like, trying not to be a weirdo, but I'm being kind of weird at that point. Like, are you going somewhere?
Yeah.
And I would just explain, I'm like, everyone's leaving and I know it's hot and it sucks. And that side gets it worse than any because they're not getting any fans. So at that's probably the point where me and Jason looked at each other. We're like, so are we just going to like refund all the vendors? And we are like, I think so. And we did. We refunded all the vendors for what they paid. It was nuts, but it made me feel better.
I mean, some people wouldn't even do that. So
no, everyone said I'm nuts, but in hindsight, maybe half a refund would have probably been more reasonable, but I'm glad we did what we did.
Yeah, no. And I hear you're doing it again next year, though, right?
That is the plans, but we're going to try to do it here in the warehouse. It's not as big, obviously, as the Showboat or as the other event center, but I'm already paying the rent.
Yeah.
And there's rooms here. Like we can make it work within here. It's just on a smaller scale. And I think that'll be easier for us to manage.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like if you have a warehouse, I mean, free is great,
Yeah.
Free is great. And I hear you have a giant warehouse with rooms and stuff. And so that would be great for classes and, plenty of plugs.
Well, that's funny is some of the plugs actually don't work. We have blue tape around the ones that don't work. You should, because some of these rooms we like knock down walls to make the rooms bigger. And I don't know, something's weird with the electricity, but way more outlets than stupid Showboat.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I don't know. I might have. I know. I'm still thinking. I don't know if I want to do an event. I'm scared. Like
I was gonna just say, if you're gonna do an event, Texas is the place to do it. And TumblrCon's up in Dallas, so I don't even know if there's another event in South Texas. But you could have it in Dallas and still do just as good. There's so many people there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like Dallas is so far north. The Houston area and like Cypress, because like I talked with Kelly and stuff and she was saying, you're in a good area. She said she came down to Houston to kind of scout the area. And I told her, well, you don't do it in Houston. You should do it like on the outskirts, like in the Woodlands. There's lots of stuff in the Woodlands to do that. It's so big. Katy is another one.
Yes.
Katy. Just the vendor craft shows that we have here, like the Berry Center has the Nutcracker Market every single year, and it is so freaking packed. I did it one year and I was over. You can't even move through the crowd because there's so many people.
Wow. And there's just so many people in Texas. You're close to the Houston airport, so anywhere, if you do it within an hour of that airport, people will have no problems traveling there if they don't live in Texas. And if they do live in Texas, most likely they'll have to fly anyway because Texas is so damn big. But
yeah, but see, like flying into Houston, those flights are going to be cheaper than if you were flying into a little city.
Right.
So it's like if you're flying into Houston, flying out of Houston, that's going to be, more cost effective because we have two airports. There's so many people here.
And I will tell you one issue that I have no matter what happens, I've had it both years, is that a lot of the vendors that I really want to come can't because it's just not worth it to them. Like the amount of money that they're going to have to spend to travel from where they are all the way up to stupid Jersey.
Yeah.
And, and I know that they're not going to make the kind of money here to offset that and make a profit. So like, I get it, but that's not the case with Texas. So you're going to have that in the bank.
Yeah, no, you have like you're pulling from a lot of different areas, and I hear like there's a lot of people from Texas. I don't have a lot of customers from Texas. It's weird. It's weird. I have a lot of customers from California. I have a lot of customers from like the Midwest area.
Mhm.
Very off, like now and then I'll get somebody from Texas. But yeah, no, like it's all over the board. And I think Yaya's is in San Antonio.
I think she is. I think at one point she was in Florida, or she moved from Florida to Texas, because I remember her being in Florida at some point. I felt like I was a part of her whole life for the first 2 years of my crafting community, my crafting life, because I was like, that was the only person I bought glitter from forever.
I couldn't figure out if they were like, if it was her company or if it was a family company, because I don't know why I thought there were multiple people, because it was craft, like the name changed, right? It was Yaya's first, and then it went to craft, Sass and Craft. Yeah.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And then that's when I kind of discovered Feather Bear and Riches and Bows and all those other, back fists,
Oh my God, yes.
those mixes, those really like oohs and ahs. And so I was said, okay, this is where I'm going to get my solids from, but the blingy mixes. And then that's when I realized, oh, okay, so that's polyester glitter. That's where those flakes and that spark comes. That's why you can sand this guy and not this guy, like that kind of shit like that. So I did my homework. And then I realized, okay, this right here, this is the good stuff. Yeah.
And that was a perfect place for you to fit, because all of the impressive OGs that you just named of the glitter selling world, at the time, most of them were just putting out solids because that's what we needed. But there needed to be a spot where we're like, but I need that color that I can't even imagine how to mix all those colors together. And I need it. And I need you to make it for me and make it cute. Make it like,
yeah, no, for sure. Great. I was a holographic girl. I loved my holographic. I remember Superdome. That's how it's. I think it's Superdome, but they say Superdome. And Superdome and Throw Me Some Mista was my holographic. That was my jam. Because, here we have a lot of Dallas Cowboys. So they wanted that really holographic. So I would layer it on. And then I got super broke. So I had to go to Recollections and get their holographic silver. I had a butt ton of that, but then
I still do.
Oh yeah. I let my kid, I was like, here, make slime, take all my glitter. So, but I still have a big room dedicated just glitter. Not a big room, it's the tandem garage but the room itself is just glitter from wall to wall to wall. And I had to downsize at least 2 or 3 times before it would all fit.
I just don't know how to get rid of stuff. Like if that was me, I'd literally just, I guess I better put it all in boxes and neatly stack it in the corner, because they won't all fit on these racks and I can't possibly get rid of anything. So might as well hide it all. It doesn't even make any sense.
Get rid of it. I used to be like that. Like I might need it, but don't you hate it when you're like, okay, fine. I haven't touched it in 6 months, a year, 3 years. I don't need it. And then the second you get rid of it, you're like, damn,
sure wish I had that glitter right now that I threw away after not using for 3 years.
It's the universe, man. So,
but I haven't needed any of it yet. So I'm about to just test the universe and just eat it all into the dumpster. Because one, if we're going to do any kind of convention here, these girls, I mean, they've seen the rooms. They know the junk that I'm hoarding in some of these rooms. We just treat some of these rooms like they're just our storage. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. Take it to the warehouse and we'll deal with it later. I've been saying that since April of 2019.
Yeah. And it just, girl, look at that.
It looks better than what we got going on over here. But I got to start downsizing all my old craft supplies. I keep saying, I'll just destash it. I'll sell it. It'll be great. And, it doesn't matter what I get for it because it's old anyway. I was going to throw it away, but yet here it sits.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I still have things up in my bunkers in my house. And so Scott's like, what are we doing with this? He refuses to put up all the Halloween stuff. Now, Halloween, I don't get rid of. Like, Halloween's my thing. I have I have 2 Halloween rooms.
Yeah.
And right now that is just that's specifically dedicated to Halloween. And then with all the decorations coming out and like being put up around the house, Scott's like, so I think we need to like consider selling some of this decor or, you know, taking it to Goodwill. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. So it's
you
just
could sell
sitting
your
there.
stuff. If you want to sell your stuff, you can go sell your stuff. But I'm fine with the stuff that I've gotten. And if you got a problem with that, I'm sorry.
Yeah. He's like, but then again, you know, I put like, he's one of those where he wants to show me what he means. And so I put it all up. And as I'm like putting up all the witches and stuff, and I'm like, he's like, no, he's like, you can just keep this out, you know, all year long. And this can just be what you show people when they come over to your house. And so I said, am I being, is it weird? Is it weird that I have Halloween stuff everywhere, Scott? And Scott's like making his like tea. And he's like, no, why would it be weird? And I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to be like the weird Halloween lady, you know? Like you've seen those people that have Christmas all over their house year round.
Right. Yeah.
So you're kind of like, you like Christmas. I don't want to be like, she likes Halloween a lot.
No, my house is kind of the same, and Jason's very obsessed with it too. So if it's weird, we're weird together because I mean, we have these big gargoyles that sit out front of the house for Halloween. They're just out all year round now. There's no point in putting them away. They look cool. They're just two big gargoyles.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But we
Definitely.
keep a lot
I
of
got
our
pumpkins.
Halloween stuff up too. If I let Jason have a whole Halloween room, he'd be so excited. And my craft room here is going to be kind of a Halloween-y theme.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I just did a bling
not
room.
weird.
So I'm putting up all my bling, creepy but cute stuff. Yeah.
I like creepy but cute. That works.
Mm-hmm. The pastels, creepy but cute, and like the stripes and the black and white checkers. Like I'm obsessed with it. Yeah.
So what is next on the horizon for NMO? Do you have anything like up your sleeve? I know you mentioned that there might be some kind of convention, you know, thought about, but what are you, is there anything you're ready to talk about that you are in the process of?
Well, it's funny you say, like the convention talk is always convention talk, you know, it's such a, well, if it happens to fall or, you know, fall in my lap or align perfectly, then maybe we can get serious about it. But I don't know. It just doesn't really spark my interest that much right now. I'm really liking, kind of the position that I'm in right now. Things are starting to kind of clear up for me, you know, with all of the craziness of, you know, family, personal life, and the kids always doing something to us, you know, pivoting. Are we going to, you know, bring this into the line? What are we going to do with this? What are we going to get rid of? It's just, it's always just been very go with us. And I've been for years now, I've been desperately wanting to slow down, to just kind of step back and reevaluate everything that is working and that is not working.
Right.
I've found myself kind of looking at things from a more business point of view rather than a personal point of view. And so everything is starting to clear up and it's starting to slow down. And I think simplifying right now is kind of where I want to go. And when we started, it was very exclusive, you know, exclusive glitter mixes, exclusive patterns, exclusive this, and boxes and stuff like that. I like doing the things that spark my interest. And I think that's what kind of put us where we are by making those videos that center around what my brand is, which is very, whatever it is I'm feeling at the moment. You know, I don't really have that sort of look yet. People say I do have a look, but I just kind of go with whatever it is that whatever I'm going through at the moment kind of comes out with my releases and prints that I make in colors and shades.
I like that.
And so thank you. And with like the holidays being really busy, I'm going to take this year that's coming to really scrutinize the business. I want to lessen and I want to spend more time with family because I feel like my kids are just growing up so fast. Right. And I tell Scott, there's always time to make money. You know, like there's always going to be time to grind. There's always going to be there's always going to be bills. There's always going to be, you know, got to pay off this guy. You got to do this. Let's invest in this. We can't keep working ourselves this hard because we're going to turn around and our kids are going to be graduating and gone.
Right.
So
And you'll regret it.
I really want to spend as much time and focus and attention on them, because for so long I've been putting all my attention on NMO.
Right.
So,
and
yeah.
they've been there the whole ride, right? You started it when you had your second already.
Yes, Greer was probably like about 6 months when I started.
That must have been really hard too.
It was, I had a lot of postpartum, so it was really hard with my first one. And then when the second one came along, you know, Scott wanted to make sure that I had an outlet. And so when I did that, he was trying to support, you know, you go and do this, but remember, you know, we got to like communicate, because I don't want you going into the dark, you know, so you need to talk with me. And then sometimes like he would get a little worried when I would go into the creative, like crafting mode, and I would be there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And it was kind of like hey, you know, like snap out of it. You know, you just don't like compartmentalize and just focus all your attention on this. You have to, it's got to be functional. It's got to be productive. And, you know, he was right. So it was very hard, and it was easy for me to just kind of focus my attention on that. But I think now I'm just now starting to come out of that fog and realize my attention really needs to be on my family. Right.
That's kind of where Jason's at lately. He's like, we also need to take a step back and figure things out, because this has been a weird spot for us too this year. Usually there's other people, like I'll be like, oh, well, you know, Brian will do it, Sean will do it, but we've downsized in that too with people. So it's kind of like, I wish we're trying to downsize the whole thing, basically just similar to what you said, and just pay, because Alex wasn't here when we started. So it's a whole different ball game. She came in the middle of things, and now it's like she's here. So when I go home, I'm like this. Yeah. Hey, baby, you know, playing with her. And then I'm like back to doing a reel or commenting on something or fixing a problem for somebody. It's been like all week. And I'm like, I don't want to look at my phone at all.
And not just that, it's just like the constant stimulation of because the business is always going to need something. Like you're always going to have an idea, or you're always going to have a message, you're always going to have a request or an order to fill, you know, something, a plan that you have to keep on. Like you just got to keep feeding that beast and doing social media, you know, because that's what we live and die by, you know? So it's a constant, it's never going to get done. And I think that's where the anxiety comes in for me of, I can either choose to feed into the anxiety of looking at this as a finish line that is like a mirage that just keeps getting farther and farther and farther away. And that brings hell to the house, because mom is always working. Right. Mom is always freaking out that, you know, this customer is going to be let down, or, you know, there's a deadline or whatever it is. And Scott's approach is like, you do the best you can. Like, and that's where we kind of butt heads a little bit, because I'm a workaholic.
Yeah, like I could do better than that. No.
I mean, that's just, I don't know if it's a personality or a dysfunction of mine. Like I'm still stuck in between figuring out where that's working out. And yeah, and it wasn't until recently when my daughter came up to me and she was just like, Mommy, she's like, here, you don't have to go to work today. And she made me paper money. And I was like, oh. Because I always say, baby, I have to work. I have to pay the bills. I'm sorry. This is how we get food. And so she was like, I have an idea. And then it's like, I walked all around the house after I got mad at her for going in my drawer and getting all my masking tape. And like, I see that she went and like stuck green money that she colored with the Sharpie and cut it out and like stuck money on my door to my room and then my bathroom and then to me. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh, fuck, you know, and like Jackson's more the type that's like, he's going to ask you one time. And if you say, no, I'm too busy, he'll never ask you again. You know, Greer will be like, I got an idea. So it broke my heart when that happened. And I was like, you know, fuck this. Like no, my kids are going to be little for what? Today?
Yeah.
Today?
Literally.
Yeah. So it's just like, no, I'm going to step back, slow it down, let go of all the fucking drama in the Tumblr world. I don't have time for the TikTok shit. You know, like I'm here. You know, Jason said something to me, or not to me. He said something to me. That he said something on the podcast that I listened to recently, and it made total sense when he's like, "What are we doing with this drama? Like, I'm not in. What are we doing here? Is this a business, or is this like I don't do the chick shit, you know, like, come on, like, let's do this." And so I've kind of, his words resonated with me. Like, that's true. It's not that I don't care. It's just that we're here. No, I'm not materialistic. No, I'm not, you know, this greedy little make money guy, but it's like, we're in this. What are we doing here? Right. Are we in this to be successful, or are we in this to get clicks and likes and be popular? No, you know? So I just need to spend time with my kids while they're little. I think that's what's going to be on the horizon. That's going to be like my main priority.
It's probably one of the better answers you could actually give. I like that. And I like that, you know, you were able to acknowledge that, because a lot of people, they'll turn around 10 years later and, like you said, you're at graduation and you're like, crap, like where's the rewind? Like, there's no rewind. And here you were on TikTok watching this girl talk about that girl, and then there's a Tumblr involved somewhere, and there's like a hashtag, and now I have to go down a rabbit hole, and then you're 6 days later you come out of it and you're like, what am I doing again?
Yeah.
It's nuts. Yeah. Why? It's stupid.
And you're on your phone like this, and then you have like this strain, and the body starts hurting, and you're like, am I just on my phone so much? And then like I'm snapping at my kids because they're like, mommy. And I'm like, hold on. You know, I'm just like, come on, you know, like, what are we doing? Like, no, put the phone down, clock out, sit down and watch some, you know, bad cartoons with your kids, you know, and just fuck it. You know, sometimes just like, fuck it, you know, turn it off.
The amount of time that I have spent just laying in bed worrying about what people could be saying about me, because I think this girl was saying this about me when she said that in that place and about the thing, and she said blue, so she was talking about me. Like, who else is talking about me? And it's like, who cares? Like, I need to have the confidence to just turn around and be like, I happen to like Sara Lively. So if you don't, that really sucks, but I understand, because sometimes, you know, but whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Work some days.
Oh my God.
Work some days.
I gotta say that I used to say, whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. Yeah. Like, I remember saying that as a
rubber,
kid.
you are glue.
You are glue. Whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you.
Right. My mom used to tell me that all the time, and I'm like, Mom, you don't understand. You're not a kid.
Yes. No. Yes. Like, no, Greer's the type that will just go kick you in the balls, and she's just like, okay, we're even. You know, like, that's Greer. Jackson he'll cry and he'll get upset, and he'll want you to apologize, you know, like, and understand the meaning of, you know, your words and how they hurt people, and you can't take them back once they're out. And he's so philosophical. Yeah.
I'm like, we need to talk this out right now. I can see there's like something going on. Like, are you upset with me? And can I have a list of reasons why? Because I'm going to fix them all right now. Like, and also say you're sorry.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. I've kind of just like, it's all just very, like the pieces got thrown up into the air, and I was, you know, trying to sort them all. And then now I'm just kind of like, they're falling, and I'm okay with that one. I'm okay with that one. I'm okay with that one. And then, you know, what matters most is my kids, you know, like my family. I cannot compromise that anymore.
I love that. And I'm sure you're going to figure out how it's going to work together, because it can work together. You know what I mean? You can have both, and I'm sure that you will.
Right. No, for sure. And whatever that looks like for the business, then that was meant to be anyways. You know, you can, the intrusive thoughts and the anxiety and the fighting it is just prolonging what God really wants for you, you know, what the universe really wants for you.
Right.
So you just go with it. Go with it. Be smart, but go with it.
Well, that was beautifully said, and I have very much enjoyed hanging out with you this morning.
Thank you.
I wish that we could just hang out all day. I always say that with all my guests. I'm like, I could literally just sit here and just chill and talk about glitter or business or family or, you know, humidity. Unfortunately, I do have to go back.
Yeah, unfortunately. I know. But
If people would like to find where you are, how can they find you on social media?
well, we are on social media. We are plain NMO glitter and vinyl, or we have a group. We also have a subscription. So if we have a lot of people who really like that, social media is just too much for them. So they just kind of get their little box of beautiful stuff monthly. So there's a subscription service for that. Or you can just go on Instagram or podcasts that we have. I gotta have you on a podcast, you know?
That was one of my points to bring up, and we briefed on it, was your podcast. But yes, please tell people where they can find your podcast and your website.
We are on Spotify, and I think Scott puts them because he likes to tape also to get the visuals, you know, of people's reactions. But those are also on YouTube. So you can always go to the YouTube. There's instructional and there's podcasts. And then so that's Modern Craft. And then of course, Nicole Marett Original is going to be on YouTube. And then I think it's NMO Glitter and Vinyl Facebook group. And then, or you can just type in NMO and my face pops up. There might be like a neurological medical thing that pops up, but then there's me. So yeah, it's like both are, yeah. So
the other NMO and then my face.
Yes, and then there's me. The other neurological. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been great. And what does Jason always say? Let's get back to work. Let's get back to work.
Kettle and never bring the kettle to the pot.
Now, pour the tea.